Hey, welcome back to Tolfer Talks Comics. We're just going to take a look at a few of the things I picked up at the comic book shops in my area. Um, like one of the things that's been going on is the little town I live in has not had a comic shop ever, as far as I know. There were a couple guys in the garage on off the interstate selling them a while back, but so it's kind of new for me to live in a town with a comic shop. So I've been down there like every other day, um, buying way more new comics than I normally do. Um, the other cool thing about that is nobody's really caught on to it yet. So they still have first, the first printings of, each of all these Tradmore Doctor Strange books. Which is kind of neat for me because I wasn't sure what to think of this at first, and I had to page through the book a few times before I was like, yeah, this looks legit. But this week I ended up with issue 4 of the Tradmore Doctor Strange. This looks cool. I bought this mainly for the painted cover. I haven't even looked at it yet. And then this, I don't know, it seems like somebody was maybe talking about these books on a channel I was looking at. And there's they're two Alan Moore stories. And Stephen Bissett, um, is he's inker here, and it does at least does the penciling in the first story. And I've read the End Man story. It was pretty good. I think maybe one of these days we'll just sit down and go through that story. It was like reading an early Hulk comic. It was fun. Really, really enjoyed it. And then little Jim Starlin, and I don't know. This was a mistake. I don't know why I bought this. I guess I knew what I was doing, but I don't know. And then I don't know. The one I'm really looking forward to taking a look at sometime soon is Sergio Aragonés, Stomp Star Wars. I wasn't aware of this book, but if I see anything cool by Sergio, I almost always pick it up unless I'm just don't have the money. Because man, it's cheaper than drugs. It's healthier than drugs, and if you're down, you know, Sergio is the way to go. And so, the reason I have this channel going, one is just, I don't know, it's turning out to be kind of fun, but the main reason is I want to promote my comic. So this week's, this episode of Tolfer Talks is brought to you by my comic, Winterland. It's the story of a small college town in the Black Hills of South Dakota plagued with strange supernatural occurrences of all kinds. In the beginning, it's mostly werewolves. Only they're not like normal werewolves. So, I mean, it's another werewolf book, but it gets weirder than normal werewolf books. And so also, today, the episode is brought to you by Luke's cousin, Barry Skywalker, and his Ewok buddy Skip. They're one of my earliest subscribers, and they're just glad to be here. Barry is famously famous for, kind of freaking out that Luke was the chosen one. He claims he always believed he was the chosen one, but and I don't know, he never recovered. He's had some problems. He's in therapy. He's got his buddy, and it's going to be all right. He's going to make it. Today's episode, I think since we're talking about Tradmore, today's episode is also brought to you by this clear liquid in a small vial. That was a joke, so don't come after me. Just a gag. All right, so let's take a look at. I'm not sure how to do this. I kind of wish I would have got. Oh, yeah, man. Forgot. This Northern Blood. This is pretty cool. I've been checking out some of these smaller books on from smaller publishers. And this was neat. I think, I don't know. I kind of want to do a crowdfunding thing and not have to worry about a publisher, but I was thinking my book would kind of work well with this, with these guys. So this was fun. I really like the idea of, GIs fighting in Norway, and, they come across zombie Vikings. It's pretty good. Okay, but this is what kind of really blew my mind. And I'm probably going to come up with a few negative things to say about it, but just so you know, I mean, overall, I think this comic kind of like hit me in the right spot somehow, some way, and really, really enjoyed it. Okay, so here's like one of the things that sort of bothered me, or it didn't bother me, but whenever I have a comic, something like this, I'm holding it in my hand, and red sun comes up. Do you see that? Red sun, red sun, red sun. It automatically puts me in like the world of Superman, right? So to have a Marvel comic, I don't know, Red Sun, was like, maybe they could have, I don't know. It's fine. It's okay, because it's so cool. Like, I love his layouts. They're really, well, we'll take a look here, but, they seem to be really inventive, but they follow some rules, and it's really easy to follow. And even though it's so just crazy, it doesn't seem, like the kind of thing you have to just struggle through to figure out what's going on. Although, I mean, I don't, there isn't, I don't know, there isn't a lot of dialogue or text or anything in the first issue, and I think that's okay. I think, in fact, I'd kind of would like to see this Tradmore guy possibly, I mean, it would be really fun for him to just do something crazy with absolutely no text. I would love that. But that's just, I think that's a little bit of poetry. I don't know if we really need that to follow the story. And I'm not going to really try to follow the story because I've only read these once. And, I'm sure I'm missing stuff, so I don't really want to get too into it, because I'm sure there's somebody else out there on the interweb that has dissected this in a way that is probably, would make it more meaningful to the public, the people at large. But, man, this is great. This kind of reminds me of Dr. Seuss. Some of the liberties he takes with form are a bit distracting. Like, all I could think of, when he does this thing with the legs is, maybe tumors. So I don't know, but again, pretty small thing. When you look at the cover, the colors, and I guess what I was talking about with, his layouts being pretty wild but still legible is, he sticks with that idea that, you read panels from left to right, top to bottom. And so, you've got the larger panel, smaller panel, and then it reads left to right, down, boom. So it's things look a little weird, but they're not really that weird. Same thing, top, left to right, top to bottom. This one isn't that wild. Basically, it's got, thirds. But, man, it's just one of the thing I kept thinking about reading through this and looking at the art was, there's some comics you look at and it's like, you're always kind of aware that you're looking at a sheet of paper that's roughly, I don't know what, 8 inches by whatever, 10.5 inches, 7 point whatever. But man, sometimes it felt like, you were on the, watching this on the big screen. It's really fun. And I don't know if anybody else who's picked up a copy of this has had that experience, but he's so good with, size relations. And I think that's, one of the things I've been trying to keep in mind when I'm designing my pages is that, you don't want every panel to have, like similar, like the similar sized figures, like in every one. Like maybe you want a close up sort of here in the splash page, but then we have tiny, things get bigger. And then I don't know if this is like, things get weird. And what's going on right now is he's kind of existing in two places. Somebody tells him this later, but he's sort of vibrating between planes. And, he's kind of trying to work his way through this. But this kind of repetition of similar shapes from panel to panel, he turns the eye and the red moon kind of become these graphic elements that sort of move you through the page. Pretty neat. Anyway, he's finally arrived in the world that he's I don't know, there to help out with. Paloma, I think maybe is what it's called. I can't remember. I only read it once. I never take notes. But, like this, all this looks like trippy, 60s rock and roll posters. It could almost say like live at the Fillmore underneath. Bong. But, yeah. Anyway, so I think a lot of this, I'm not sure exactly, he could have almost, I was thinking he could have, Trad is the writer and the artist. I don't know why he didn't this didn't necessarily have to take place in the Marvel universe. It didn't necessarily have to be Doctor Strange that goes on this, this crazy adventure. He ends up on another plane of existence. And, the thing is, he's dealing with, these entities that he's, as far as I know, never encountered before. And so, I could be wrong, but, basically they go through what seems to be like some kind of weird Gnostic cosmology here, or, some kind of weird theosophical sort of, spiritual exercise or spiritual whatever. Um, and, um, I just think he could have sort of, he could have made this his own story with his own character. And then as far as I know, it's been a while. I had an art teacher that was heavy into theosophy, and he would never talk about it. So, of course, I'd hear other people talking about him being into theosophy. But so, of course, when I had a couple religion classes, and when I could, I would write about um, theosophy. And, Gnosticism, there's some kind of not Gnostic kind of overlap. And so this all kind of looks like a little bit of that. But I mean, that's been years ago. So I'm just kind of, I don't know, everything I say could probably be wrong. But I think there's actually different Gnostic schools and they look at things differently because, like, Sophia is often one of the eons. Um, but yeah, so anyway, usually there is like this God, right? Or not God, but this infinite like being. And then, from that you get Bythos, and in this case, Sophia. And, they kind of explain a little bit what that's all about. But there's a lot of like like Platonism and, you know, stuff with the ideal forms, and it's all in here. So I don't know if he just kind of ran. It'd be interesting to know where all this stuff comes from. If he, ran across like some podcast and just sort of like, was not, took some notes, or if this is something he invented. Um, but I'm guessing it's sort of maybe a combination of um, the two things. But usually there's, these two, and then somebody creates a demiurge, and then the idea is that the demiurge is what the Christians think of as God, and it's sort of a way of solving the problem of evil in the world, because like a pure God, right, or a good God couldn't create evil. So if you couldn't create evil, then maybe in this case Bythos and Sophia did it, or created this demiurge, which created, but I don't. It's kind of missing the demiurge, but anyway, it's all pretty interesting, weird stuff. And then there's a guest artist in this. It looks like Tradmore is still listed as writer artist, but this Jensine Ekwall, special guest artist. I looked up some of her work online, and I'm guessing that, you know, I don't know, but I'm guessing that maybe Trad must have done still maybe did the layouts or something. Because, it's obvious, it seems to me that, he must have had his hand in this somehow. So again, another question. It'd be nice to know what the deal is. But anyway, so he's in the other world, well, actually, this is interlude, but it's actually kind of goes back to the beginning of the story. So really, you could start the beginning of the story right here. And I don't know if I like that or not, but I mean, honestly, wasn't really into this book for the story. I was into it for the psychedelic, crazy, just outrageous, to me, outrageous artwork that, I mean, this is like, I can imagine, you know, like reading through this, and it'd be much like, picking up a Steve Ditko Doctor Strange, back in the day, where, like, man, I have never seen anything like this. And just having your mind blown. And again, the way that he uses he's got these really large figures against, much smaller figures. I think the one in the middle is Doctor Strange. It just, man, it just adds to the otherworldly quality of this. And then I don't know, the writing. I don't know. I listened to a video this morning where they were just trashing like Witchblade, and I didn't get into Witchblade, but I stopped the video to read a few pages, and I kind of like have discovered I don't know what pulpy, weirdness is good and which pulpy weirdness is bad. It just seems like, there's just different flavors, different textures, different ways of, getting a nutty story across. And I don't know. For all I know, this is terrible writing, but I thought it's just, to me, it's all kind of fun. Desperation and cruel leadership erodes our human dignity. So I don't know. Is that a comment on today? Could be. Yeah, right now. Keep an eye on the caravan and rejoin us once we draw near the body machine. There I'll lay out our scheme. So I don't know. That's probably kind of cheesy. But again, I'm in this for the art. So basically, he's here to deliver, I think deliver Sophia's baby. I don't know. Sure, why not? And, this baby is somehow going to save the realm. Again, I'll probably reread this. I'll get back to you. I don't know if it matters, though. It's really about the art. But anyway, it goes on and on. Here's the third book. I'll just go through this quick. I think the third book is probably my favorite. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a mark for Doctor Strange stuff, because I enjoyed both the movies too. I thought they were fine. But it just seems like this is so inventive. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably enough. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I think maybe Trad might be looking at some fine art stuff, because I know that reminds. I don't know if there's a famous Baroque sculpture of a maiden with a veil, and the deal with it is the artist was sculpting in marble, but was able to convey the softness and the kind of diaphanous quality of the veil. But man, what's crazy is see when he does use textures. It's pretty mind-blowing. Okay, let's find out who's giving birth. So, shoot, I guess that's a spoiler. He was successful. Yeah. So, anyway, book 3, we'll take a little bit, look at book 4 a little bit. And then again, I don't know if this deal with the legs is intentional. I haven't really spent a lot of time looking at his work. I completely missed out on Silver Surfer, his Silver Surfer run. I guess it was 2 issues. I think it's called Silver Silver Surfer Black. But again, man, these just yeah, I feel like he spent a lot of time looking at a lot of pop art from the 60s, you know, like commercial art, you know, like band posters and posters for different venues. But yeah, I don't know. This one's still on the shelf, so maybe check it out. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe they're not legs. Maybe it's they're, what are they, pantaloons? But this is great. I've got some psychedelic bits in my comic, and it's going to be hard. I'm not going to, I'm definitely going to be looking through here for inspiration. Hopefully, I mean, I'll try not to steal anything. But anyway, that's what I don't know. I've been looking at this week. And if man, if any of you guys have anything that you like, feel free to drop a comment. I've got a couple comments from my buddies lately, which is pretty cool. I think I'm up to 23 subs. Thank you all. I love you all. I do it for you. I don't know. That and I don't have a lot going on right now. It's a desperate cry for help. Yeah, so anyway, man, take care. Drop a comment in. Hit the like, if you choose. Check out my Indiegogo sign up page. There's me playing. Oh yeah, actually, geez, I've got some psychedelic guitars stuff on that I recorded as to go along with the trailer that some people really like. Other people say it's too long and rambly, and I don't know. The salient information in the trailer is all in the first minute, so probably the first 45 seconds. But yeah, take care. Peace. Yeah, peace. Definitely. Pray for peace, people. Later.